Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Eric Clapton, the guitar legend who rewrote the language of rock and blues. Few musicians in modern history have influenced the world of rock and blues as profoundly as Eric Clapton. Widely regarded as one of the greatest guitarists of all time, Clapton's career spans more than 6 decades, marked by reinvention, artistry, tragedy, and triumph. From the fiery blues licks of his early days to the soulful maturity of his later work, Clapton has become a symbol of authenticity and musical mastery. Early life and musical awakening. Born on March 30, 1945, in Surrey, England, Eric Patrick Clapton grew up in a modest household surrounded by music. As a teenager, he became captivated by American blues artists like B.B. King, Muddy Waters, Robert Johnson, and Buddy Guy. Their raw emotion and expressive guitar styles shaped Clapton's earliest musical identity. By the time he turned 16, he had already gained a reputation among local musicians as a young prodigy. The rise, Yardbirds, Bluesbreakers, and the birth of a virtuoso. Clapton's professional career took off when he joined the Yardbirds in 1963. Although the band leaned toward a pop-rock sound, Clapton remained committed to pure blues, developing the fiery technique that earned him the legendary graffiti slogan, "Clapton is God." Seeking a more authentic blues environment, he joined John Mayall and the Bluesbreakers, where his guitar work on the album Bluesbreakers with Eric Clapton, 1966, redefined electric blues. His searing tone, use of sustain, and aggressive yet emotional phrasing became the blueprint for modern British blues. Cream, a supergroup that changed rock forever in 1966. Clapton co-founded Cream with drummer Ginger Baker and bassist Jack Bruce. The power trio fused blues, rock, and psychedelia, producing hits such as Sunshine of Your Love, White Room. Crossroads. Cream's improvisational live performances showcased Clapton's technical brilliance and elevated him to global stardom. Derek and the Dominoes and the masterpiece of Heartbreak after Cream and the short-lived Blind Faith. Clapton embarked on one of the most emotionally charged phases of his career with Derek and the Dominoes. Their 1970 album Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs remains a landmark recording. Inspired by his forbidden love for Pattie Boyd, the wife of his friend George Harrison, the title track, Layla, became an eternal rock classic. Solo career, reinvention and longevity. Throughout the 1970s and beyond, Clapton carved out a remarkable solo path, blending blues, rock, pop, and acoustic influences. He scored international hits like Wonderful Tonight, Tears in Heaven, Cocaine, I Shot the Sheriff. His 1992 Unplugged album earned 6 Grammy Awards and reintroduced him to a new generation, proving that his artistry transcended electric guitar heroics. Struggles, recovery, and resilience. Clapton's journey has not been without darkness. He battled drug and alcohol addiction for years, finding stability only after seeking treatment in the 1980s. The tragic death of his young son Connor in 1991 led to one of his most heartfelt compositions, Tears in Heaven. Despite immense personal hardship, Clapton transformed pain into music that touched millions, showcasing remarkable emotional vulnerability. Legacy. The lasting impact of Slowhand. Eric Clapton is the only artist inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 3 times, as a member of the Yardbirds, Cream, and as a solo artist. His guitar vocabulary, smooth bends, expressive vibrato, and melodic phrasing, remains foundational for generations of musicians. Clapton's influence extends far beyond technique. He helped revive interest in traditional blues, collaborated with legends like B.B. King, and continuously championed music education and charitable causes like the Crossroads Center, a treatment facility he founded. The timeless voice of the blues even today, Clapton's music resonates because it feels deeply human, rooted in struggle, longing, joy, and redemption. Whether plugging into a roaring Stratocaster or strumming an intimate acoustic ballad, Eric Clapton continues to remind the world why the blues endures. He is not merely a guitarist. He is a storyteller, one whose melodies have become part of rock's DNA. Eric Clapton, a deeper look into the life, music, and legacy of a modern guitar icon. Musical evolution. From blues purist to global icon, Eric Clapton's evolution as an artist is one of the most fascinating in modern music. What began as an obsession with American Delta blues gradually expanded into a rich tapestry of musical exploration. During the 1970s, Clapton blended soft rock, reggae, and pop influences, bringing his sound to an even broader audience. His cover of Bob Marley's "I Shot the Sheriff" reached #1 on the Billboard charts and helped introduce reggae to mainstream Western audiences. By the 1980s and 1990s, Clapton's music became more polished, emotional, and introspective, especially as he overcame addiction and coped with personal tragedy. Collaborations with legends. One of Clapton's strengths is his ability to collaborate across genres and generations. He has worked with some of the most respected names in music history, including B.B. King. Their joint album Riding with the King combined two different blues generations into a Grammy-winning masterpiece. George Harrison. Clapton played one of the most memorable guitar solos in Beatles history on "While My Guitar Gently Weeps." Duane Allman. Their electrifying partnership on Layla remains a benchmark of guitar interplay. Phil Collins produced several Clapton solo albums, including Behind the Sun and August. Elton John, Steve Winwood, Jeff Beck, Mark Knopfler, Carlos Santana. Clapton's collaborative list reads like a who's who of music royalty. These partnerships broadened his musical palette and cemented his status not only as a virtuoso but as a respected collaborator. Signature sound. What makes Slowhand unique? Eric Clapton's playing is immediately recognizable. His style blends technical precision with emotional expression, never flashy for the sake of flash, but always soulful. Key elements of Clapton's signature style. 1. Smooth, controlled bends. Clapton's string bending became his trademark, often mimicking the wailing of a blues singer. 2. Expressive vibrato. He applies a wide, vocal-like vibrato that gives notes a singing quality. 3. Clean, melodic phrasing. Clapton focuses on melody and feeling over speed, creating solos that are memorable and hummable. 4. Guitar tone. His tones evolved over time. The gritty Les Paul sound of the Bluesbreakers era, the psychedelic SG tone in Cream, the smooth Stratocaster sound of his solo career. Each era shaped new generations of guitarists. A journey through triumph and tragedy. Eric Clapton's life story is an emotional journey, marked by soaring career achievements and profound personal pain. Addiction and recovery. By the late 1960s and early 1970s, Clapton struggled with heroin addiction. His return to music in the mid-1970s after getting clean marked a rebirth both personally and artistically. Later, he battled alcoholism before achieving lasting sobriety. The loss of his son, the death of his 4-year-old son Connor in 1991, was a devastating blow. Clapton channeled his grief into the poignant ballad, Tears in Heaven, a song that touched millions worldwide and became one of his most iconic works. Philanthropy. The Crossroads legacy. In 1998, Clapton founded the Crossroads Center in Antigua, a treatment facility for individuals fighting addiction. To support the center, he launched the Crossroads Guitar Festival, featuring performances from the greatest guitarists alive. These festivals not only raise millions for rehabilitation programs but also celebrate the artistry and community of guitar music. Awards and achievements. Eric Clapton's career achievements are monumental. 18 Grammy Awards, 3-time Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, ranked among the top guitarists of all time by Rolling Stone and other publications, over 280 million records sold worldwide, recipient of the Order of the British Empire, CBE. His influence on rock, blues, and guitar culture is immeasurable. Controversies and criticisms. Although widely respected, Clapton's career has not been free from controversy. Throughout the years, he has been criticized for certain comments and political statements, including remarks from the 1970s that he later expressed shame about. His stances during the COVID-19 pandemic also attracted backlash. While these moments complicated his public image, they have not overshadowed his vast contributions to music. A living legend still in motion even in his later years, Clapton continues to record, perform, and inspire. His tours remain global events, and his influence can be heard in the playing of countless modern guitarists. With every note, Clapton proves that the blues is still alive, timeless, powerful, and deeply human. Conclusion: the enduring spirit of Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton's legacy is more than his solos, albums, or accolades. It is a story of passion, reinvention, vulnerability, and resilience. Through heartbreak and healing, his music has remained a beacon of honesty and emotion. He reminded the world that music is not about perfection, it's about expression. And few have expressed life's joys and sorrows as beautifully as Eric Clapton, the man known simply as Slowhand. Eric Clapton. A comprehensive portrait of the man behind the music. A detailed career timeline. 1960s. The birth of a guitar hero. 1963. Joins the Yardbirds, gaining early fame for his blues-based guitar approach. 1965. Leaves the Yardbirds due to their shift toward a more commercial sound. 1966. Joins John Mayall and the Bluesbreakers. This period defines him as a blues virtuoso. 1966 to 1968. Forms Cream, pioneering the concept of the power trio. 1969. Co-founds Blind Faith, rock's first supergroup, with Steve Winwood and Ginger Baker. 1970s. Reinvention and Turbulence. 1970. Forms Derek and the Dominoes, releasing the legendary Layla and other assorted love songs. Early 1970s. Battles heroin addiction and withdraws from public life. 1974. Returns with the hit album 461 Ocean Boulevard. Late 1970s. Gains chart-topping success with songs like Wonderful Tonight. 1980s. Personal growth and commercial success. 1983. Organizes the ARMS concerts to support multiple sclerosis research. 1985 to 1989. Releases a series of successful albums produced by Phil Collins. Late 1980s. Struggles with alcohol, eventually achieving long-term sobriety. 1990s. Tragedy and transformation. 1991-1992. Following the tragic loss of his son, Clapton creates heartfelt works including Tears in Heaven. 1992. Releases Unplugged, one of the best-selling live albums in history. 1994. Returns to pure blues with From the Cradle. Late 1990s. Collaborates with B.B. King and tours extensively. 2000s to present. The elder statesman of the blues releases collaborations with J.J. Cale, B.B. King, and Steve Winwood. Establishes the Crossroads Guitar Festival as a global guitar event. Continues touring with a more relaxed, blues-forward repertoire. The impact of Clapton on guitar culture. Eric Clapton didn't just play guitar, he changed what people thought the guitar could be. 1. Popularizing the electric blues sound, Clapton's early work helped bring the Chicago and Delta blues styles to mainstream audiences. Without him, the British blues boom might never have exploded. 2. He influenced generations of guitarists. Many modern legends cite Clapton as a foundational influence, including Eddie Van Halen, Mark Knopfler / John Mayer, Joe Bonamassa. Clapton's emotional phrasing taught countless players that guitar solos should tell a story. 3. His tone became iconic. Guitarists still chase the B-note tone, named after the Clapton-era Bluesbreakers album with the comic on the cover. Achieving that tone, thick, expressive, loud, became a lifelong quest for many players. 4. He helped shape guitar gear history. Clapton's preferences helped make certain equipment legendary. The Gibson Les Paul Standard, the Fender Stratocaster, especially his signature, Blackie, Strat, the Marshall Bluesbreaker amplifier. These instruments became must-own items for guitar enthusiasts. Key guitars in Clapton's arsenal: Blackie, the signature Stratocaster built from the best parts of 3 different 1950s Stratocasters. Blackie became Clapton's main guitar for over a decade. The Fool painted SG used heavily in cream. This guitar defined the psychedelic rock tone of the late 1960s. Gibson Les Paul Standard, Beano era. This guitar, paired with a crank Marshall, created one of the most famous guitar tones ever recorded. Martin 000-28 and 00042. His acoustic work, especially during the Unplugged era, popularized these models. Clapton's personal life. Beyond the stage, Eric Clapton's life offstage has been as dramatic as his music. Relationships and family. Clapton's love life became highly publicized, especially his complex relationship with Pattie Boyd, who inspired Layla, Wonderful Tonight, Bell Bottom Blues. He has several children from different relationships and is now married to Melia McHenry, with whom he has 3 daughters. Spiritual journey. Clapton has often spoken about the role of spirituality in his life, especially during recovery. His autobiography reveals a man seeking meaning, redemption, and peace after years of turmoil. Artistic vulnerability. What makes Clapton compelling is his honesty. He never hid his flaws, he transformed them into music people could feel. The modern Clapton. An influential elder statesman even in his later years, Clapton remains a major force in music. His concerts still sell out, and his presence at festivals continues to elevate younger musicians. Crossroads Guitar Festival. This festival has become a global celebration of guitar artistry, featuring Jeff Beck, John Mayer, Derek Trucks, Joe Walsh, Buddy Guy, Gary Clark Jr. Through the festival, Clapton ensures that the next generation of guitar heroes has a platform. Why Eric Clapton still matters today. Eric Clapton's story resonates because it reflects human truth. He chased dreams. He struggled with addiction. He loved deeply and lost painfully. He fought to rebuild himself. He turned his wounds into music that healed millions. His playing remains a masterclass in emotion, reminding audiences that the blues is not just a genre, it is a language of the soul. Eric Clapton, the enduring spirit of a bluesman. A deeper musical analysis. What makes Clapton's playing timeless? Eric Clapton's musicianship goes beyond technique. His playing embodies emotion, space, and storytelling, creating an experience that listeners feel rather than just hear. 1. The power of simplicity. Unlike shredders who rely on speed, Clapton mastered the art of less is more. A single Clapton note, bent perfectly, held with the right tension, can feel more powerful than a flurry of rapid-fire licks. 2. The influence of the Delta masters. Clapton's love for Robert Johnson deeply shaped his phrasing and song interpretation. He once said Johnson's music was the most powerful cry I think you can find in the human voice. His iconic cover of Crossroads brought Delta blues into the rock arena, introducing millions to a style that had been forgotten by mainstream culture. 3. Rhythmic precision. Clapton rarely rushes. His timing is deliberate, relaxed, and confident. This creates emotional weight, especially in songs like Old Love and Have You Ever Loved a Woman? 4. Voice and guitar. As one Clapton's trademark is the dialogue between his singing and guitar playing, almost like two characters having a conversation. This approach brings intimacy to his performances. Clapton and the revival of traditional blues. By the early 1960s, blues music in America was losing mainstream visibility. Clapton, along with other British musicians, played a major role in bringing the genre back into the spotlight. He introduced blues to young global audiences. His covers of songs like Spoonful, Crossroads, and Ramblin' on My Mind helped new listeners discover the original artists. Many Black American blues legends later credited Clapton with reviving their careers. He honored the legends he admired. Clapton didn't just borrow the sound, he actively supported the blues community. He played alongside icons such as Muddy Waters, B.B. King, Buddy Guy, Howlin' Wolf. His collaborations were not about stealing the spotlight but giving respect to the genre's roots. Clapton's albums. A journey through his artistry. Below is a deeper look at what makes some of his most important albums powerful. 1. Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton, 1966, a groundbreaking album considered the birth of loud, modern blues guitar. Clapton's tone, emotion, and attack changed guitar history. 2. Disraeli Gears, Cream, 1967, full psychedelic rock energy, driven by soaring solos and experimental sounds. 3. Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs, 1970, one of the greatest albums ever made. A raw, painful confession of love, obsession, and heartbreak. 4. 461 Ocean Boulevard, 1974, Clapton's comeback album after addiction. More laid back, reflective, and soulful, with I Shot the Sheriff. 5. Unplugged, 1992, a career-defining moment that showed the world the depth of his acoustic artistry. Includes a heartfelt, reimagined Layla. 6. Riding with the King, 2000, a joyous, collaborative tribute to the blues with B.B. King. Clapton's influence on pop culture. His impact stretches beyond music. 1. Fashion influence. In the 60s and 70s, Clapton's look, long hair, colorful shirts, leather jackets, defined the aesthetic of rock musicians. 2. Film and documentaries. He scored films like Rush, wrote songs tied to major movies, and appeared in documentaries. His life story has been chronicled in multiple films, revealing his complex journey. 3. The guitar god, myth. Clapton became one of the first musicians whom fans idolized not for vocals but for instrumental mastery. This helped redefine what it meant to be a rock star. Eric Clapton and his contemporaries. Clapton's career ran parallel with some of the greatest guitarists in history. Jimi Hendrix. Clapton admired Hendrix deeply. Their styles differed dramatically. Hendrix was wild and fearless, Clapton was controlled and melodic. Yet the mutual respect was immense. Jimmy Page. Both emerged from the British blues scene but took different paths, Page toward hard rock, Clapton toward blues and soul. Jeff Beck. A fellow Yardbirds alumnus, Beck pushed boundaries in fusion and instrumental rock, while Clapton stayed rooted in blues tradition. Together, these three shaped the guitar landscape for decades. Clapton's reflections on aging and creativity. In recent years, Clapton has spoken candidly about the challenges of aging. He experiences tinnitus. Nerve damage affects his fingers. His hearing has diminished, yet, despite these physical limitations, he continues to perform and record, proving that passion transcends physical boundaries. He views music as a spiritual practice, a way to connect with his inner world and with others. A teacher. Even without teaching, though Clapton never formally taught guitar, countless players have learned from him through his phrasing, his solos, his vibrato, his song arrangements. His influence is baked into music schools, guitar textbooks, and instructional videos worldwide. Why Eric Clapton's story will outlive him. Clapton's life is a powerful message. You can fall and rise again. Pain can shape beauty. Music can be a healing force. Art doesn't require perfection, only honesty. Eric Clapton is more than a guitarist or singer. He is a symbol of resilience and the human spirit. Eric Clapton. The complete portrait of a blues rock pioneer. The evolution of Clapton's songwriting. From guitar hero to mature storyteller, many people know Clapton for his guitar work. But his evolution as a songwriter is equally remarkable. 1. Early years, emotion over poetry. In the 60s, Clapton's writing was heavily blues-based, straightforward lyrics, themes of heartbreak, addiction, longing, strong musical structure but simple vocabulary. Songs like Badge, co-written with George Harrison, and Presence of the Lord hinted at philosophical themes to come. 2. The 70s, Raw, Confession, and Rebirth. The 70s were Clapton's most emotional period. His songwriting reflected personal battles. Unrequited love, Layla, self-destruction, bell-bottom blues, spiritual searching, Let It Rain, renewal, Give Me Strength. This decade produced some of his most enduring work. 3. The 80s, pop, reflection, and vulnerability. Clapton began writing more introspective songs, especially after overcoming addiction. Pieces like Holy Mother, inspired by grief and recovery, show a deeper emotional maturity. 4. The 90s, healing through pain. Following the death of his son Connor, Clapton's writing shifted dramatically. Tears in Heaven, Circus, and My Father's Eyes explore grief, guilt, memory, and love. His music became less about virtuosity and more about humanity. Behind-the-scenes stories and little-known facts. 1. The Layla piano coda was a last-minute addition. The now famous piano ending was composed by Jim Gordon, Clapton's bandmate, added after Clapton felt the song needed something more cinematic. 2. He almost quit music in the early 1970s. Clapton disappeared from public life due to heroin addiction. Pete Townshend, The Who, personally helped bring him back to the stage with the Rainbow Concert in 1973. 3. While My Guitar Gently Weeps became a Beatles classic because of him, George Harrison invited Clapton to the studio to play the solo, breaking the Beatles' usual rule of no outside musicians. His solo added the emotional depth the song needed. 4. He auctioned his guitars for charity. Clapton sold many of his most iconic guitars, including Blackie, to raise funds for the Crossroads Center. Blackie alone sold.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.